Hello, my name is Katie. I am a homeschooler from Virginia, and a couple conversations recently have led me to realize that perhaps it might be helpful for some people to realize how easy it is to start the process of homeschooling. Now, what I'm not saying with that is that the process towards making the decision to homeschool is easy. That's not easy. That's a personal, very individual process that involves a lot of decision making and, for me, prayer and kind of going through information and trying to figure out where you stand on the homeschooling issue and all that. That's a separate thing. And then after the starting process is the process of actually homeschooling. That's also a challenging thing. But the actual process in order to start homeschooling is super easy. And in a few conversations recently, I realized that there might not be it might not be clear to a lot of people, and that if more people knew, it might pique their interest to know more. So I thought I would try to help with that. So I'm just giving you my knowledge, what I know. If any of you know more than what I know or some different things, just go ahead and add that to the comments below so that you can help other people. Or if you're speaking from a different state or different county or whatever, that would be helpful. So just put that stuff down below. So my name is Katie. I'm in Virginia, and Virginia is a relatively free and open state to homeschooling. Every state varies in its level of openness and freedom for homeschooling, and so because of that, in other states you might have a more significant process to go through. So what I recommend actually is, before you get online to try to hunt down the information online, if you know any homeschoolers in your area personally, and you know a trusted somebody that you know that you can trust in terms of their knowledge base and information, I would ask them what they did to start homeschooling in your area, because oftentimes going online can pull up a lot of information that is overly intimidating and can make it seem more difficult than it needs to be. So in my area, so I live in Prince William County, and in our county, the only thing that is required is one form, and that's it. You need to fill in the form, turn it in with the necessary attachments, and then you're good to go. So I wanted to share with you what that form is, and it's called the Notice of Intent. And I believe this is statewide, and I don't know anything beyond our state if it's what your process is there. To find out more information about your state, one organization that I would recommend is getting in touch with is the hslda.org, which is the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. They're an advocacy group for homeschoolers. If you're a member, they'll protect you legally if you find yourself in some sort of legal trouble related to homeschooling. In our state, we have another excellent organization called HEAV, HEAV.org, Home Educators Association of Virginia, and they will also lead and guide you, especially for your area in particular. So you can call and tell them what county you live in and get guidance there. And I find those groups to be also really helpful, even once again, above just getting online and going and finding information. So the first place I would go to is a trusted homeschooling friend of yours. Ask them what they did and start following that same process if it applies to you. And then second is trying to get in touch with either one of the organizations that I recommended, or one that would match up with your state. Like HEAV is just a Virginia one, but those will be really helpful, because sometimes the state stuff appears to ask you for more information than you actually are required to give, and it appears to make you work harder than you actually need to in order to fulfill the requirements. Anyway, all that being said, those are good organizations for more information. But in our county, in our state, what you need to provide is the Notice of Intent of Home Instruction. I have put links down below to our county, the office that you will be in touch with in order to turn this form in. It's called the Office of Student Services, I think. And you can go straight on the site and print out the Notice of Intent. The Notice of Intent straight from the county website looks like this, and the notice of intent from the Heave website looks like this. You can see there's a bit of difference in the pithiness and basically the legalese on there. The one from Heave is a bit more clear, in my opinion, on telling you exactly what you do and don't need to do. So it's a pretty simple form. You're just filling in the names of your kids and their ages, and then you're checking off one of these 4 boxes, which is where you're telling your qualification is. Your qualification is either that you have a high school diploma or some college degree or a teaching degree, or that you are sort of presiding over a guided curriculum, like a online correspondence course, distance learning program, or something like that. So you're going to check off which one applies to you, and then you're going to attach the appropriate information, like, a copy of your degree information or your diploma information or whatever. For me, years ago when I started, so I have 5 kids. Right now my oldest is 13 and my youngest is not even 2. And so I have a variety of grades. I have 7th, 5th, 3rd, and 1st, and then preschool. And right now in our county, the only, I think might be for the state, but as far as I know for the county, the only people that you need to turn information for is the ones that are 1st grade and above. So for kindergarten, you don't need to turn in the information, because I believe kindergarten is not compulsory in our state or county. Correct me where I'm wrong there. Anyway, so you're attaching the appropriate information. So when I turned mine in for the first time years ago, I took a picture of my degree thing, diploma thing, whatever that thing is that you get when you graduate, and then they have kept it on file. So every year I just reference that and say see photo on file, so I don't have to do that every year. And then you need to submit this form by August 15th of every year, and so you just go on the site, the one that I have listed below, and you'll see you can search out and find the address of that exact office. It's right here in our county. For me, it's right down the road, and often because I'm a little late on my turning it in and I have to turn it in on the day of, I will just go to the office and put it on their desk and walk out, say have a good day, and that's it. So you're just turning in the forms, the information by that date, and you're saying that you will turn in test scores at the end of the year verifying that your child is progressing and all of that, unless you choose the religious exemption. That's another conversation, but the religious exemption allows you to not have to turn in the test scores. So you have your name and your address, and you're turning those things in. You are also attaching a list of subject that you're covering in your curriculum, which it could sound intimidating, but this is all it is. So this was from a couple years ago. The one that I turned in says reading, mathematics, history, science, Latin, geography, English, writing, and handwriting. There are a few of those that are a bit redundant, but depending on the year, I'll add other things. Like we're always doing fine arts, like piano and things like that. So the subjects change, every year, but usually it's always the same for all of them. So I turn that in, that very simple list of the things that we're studying that year, and that's it. So because I'm committing to turn in test scores at the end of the year, that happens on the other end of the year, and that's also a relatively simple process, and I'll talk about testing another time. But one form and you're good to go. And I just think it's amazing how easy it is. And I think if more people knew, they might go, oh, I didn't realize that there was that much. I mean, some other places, other states require things like a sit down with administrators and a showing of a portfolio and things like that, but not our state. And so I think that's remarkably free. Now, to the conversation of that freedom, some people would say, well, actually, that's kind of disturbing that it's that easy, because if it's that easy, then anybody can do it. Well, that is part of the point. And just as with any freedom, you're going to have people who abuse the freedom. So I have heard stories, and the people that I've heard stories from about this are people that are not even in my state. But I have heard stories of people abusing, the freedom of homeschooling, to maybe get back at their school system, and they pull their kids out and then they don't do anything with them. And then now the kid has suffered educationally. That's a rare occurrence. I have only met one person who would ever fit that description, and I don't know the person well at all, but every other person that I've known, and I know a lot of homeschoolers, these are all people that are doing a great job to do right by their kids, and just pulling for them really hard to try to give them a really great and deep and rich education. That's what I would say to the naysayers on that one. But hopefully this has helped and maybe even inspired you to look deeper into it. Check out the links that I've put below to the information that I just held up to you there. And I think if you have any questions, post the questions below and I'll try to answer those maybe in a separate video. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped. Merry Christmas.